Hi, it's Nid, and this is your final in the 4-part series for low back. And in this one, we're going to be looking at being a bit more expansive in our shape and feeling, and working with balance a little bit more for that really deep core stability, but also really opening up all of the periphery to help open the back as well. So you're going to begin on all fours, spreading out those fingers, and let the knees be underneath the hips and the hands underneath the shoulders. And feel the shins sinking down into the ground and the fingertips spreading and sinking into the ground as well to help draw in the low belly. And then as you inhale, draw the chest forwards, just drawing that heart opening and lifting up. And then as you exhale, tucking the tail round the spine, and press down into the tops of the feet and the fingertips to engage that deep core. Inhale and find that length and openness. And then exhale, tuck the tail. And the more you push down into the floor, the more it actually helps you engage those deep core muscles in the front of the body. And then as you release and come through into the back bend, keep that engagement into the floor so that the back bend doesn't hinge into the joints but comes with that support of those deep core muscles. Try and keep the collarbones open and the elbows soft. We'll do one more time, rounding up through the back. And then returning to all fours. And then from here, tuck the toes under. Shift your hands just one hand step forwards a little bit if you can. And start to rock the weight back, bottom towards heels, taking a stretch into the feet, waking up the feet. A little stretch into the shoulders. And then from your low belly, round and ripple the spine forwards, come forwards to a 3/4 plank. And you can either stay in that 3/4 plank as a warm-up, keeping the core engaged, and then scoot from those low abs and draw the hips back. Inhale, come forwards. All of this is coming from the low belly. And then scoop and lift it back. Now if your low back feels okay, you can start to add in a little bit more of a back bend, letting the hips drop towards the floor, letting the chest draw forwards. And then scoot from that low back, drawing the hips back to the heels. We're going to go for 3 more, making it as big as you like, but just keeping the shoulders away from the ears. And all the movement initiates from just 2 inches beneath the navel. So really involving that core as the initiator for that low back, supporting with strength, but also mobility and flexibility now. And then from here, you can just gently start to lift the knees and pad those feet down towards the floor into a little downward facing dog, just to start to stretch out those hamstrings and those calves, which are often a really guilty culprit of low back pain because they're a bit short. Try and think about rising those sit bones up towards the sky. Keep the ribs soft. And again, that low belly drawing in as you press through your fingertips to help engage the core. Bend your knees as much as you need to get that length through the spine. And then drawing the heels down as much as you can. Try and keep drawing in that low belly and lifting the sit bones high. Each exhale, low belly draws in, sit bones roll high. Each inhale, let the shoulders soften away from the ears. Gently pad your feet towards your hands. Bend them as much as you need to get them towards the hands. And then give them a nice big bend, catch opposite elbow to out the hand to opposite elbow, and hang over the legs, and just take a few more bend and stretches, just really trying to open into those hamstrings. And if you can, as you exhale, draw the navel in, draw the belly in to help you actually draw yourself forwards from your core. A little bit like when we were doing those reverse curls, trying to touch our toes. in the previous video. And then release the arms, bend your knees. Roll up through the spine, one vertebra at a time. Let the arms be nice and heavy and the head come up last. Step yourself out wide. Your toes are out at 45 degrees. Knees are going to bend out to the side, and you can have your hands behind your head, keep the spine nice and long. Exhale, knees bend out to the side, opening the hips, and then dig through the heels to press yourself back up. Inhaling down. Oh, clicky hips. Exhale, dig through those heels to come back up. If you are in need of support, you can come against a wall to do this. And you may have seen me do this in other videos. We're sliding that back down. We're tucking the pubic bone forwards and the ribs are in. If you can, you're going to stay down in this position. So if you're finding it hard to stay down without a wall, come against a wall and let yourself come flat against that wall, holding the spine straight. You're then going to stay down and just work opening those knees. So we work squeezing the knees back and squeezing the knees back. Each exhale, pubic bone forwards, knees back. Last one, dig into those heels to push yourself up to standing. Turn your toes into parallel. They almost want to feel like they're pigeon-toed. Take your hands to your hips, lengthen up through your chest and exhale, sit bones rise as you come forwards into that forward fold. Let your hands come towards the ground. You can take those hands to opposite bicep. If the hands touch the floor, you can bring them in between the legs in line with the feet. Again, use that exhale to draw the navel in and stretch up and over, finding that nice opening stretch into those medial hamstrings and adductors. Nice full breaths. So we're looking to open and strengthen and lengthen these leg muscles to support the low back so that they take a little bit more of the work because they're the bigger muscles and the back can be more free. Bend your knees. If your back is sensitive, you bend the knees, hands to the hips and roll up through the spine. If your back is okay, you can work towards having the back straight and hinging straight up from the hips. Coming up to stand with head last. Okay, bring the feet back together again. Now we're going to take some lunges and I'm going to show the easier level first. So you're going to come back to the floor, have your left foot in front and your right knee behind. Now, stage one is just going to be practicing exhaling forwards and then inhaling back. Finding that little bit of balance, heel lifts. Exhaling forwards. Inhale and come back. So this is option one. So just start building that balance, still in touch with the floor. The core is doing all the work, so it's that same low belly doing the work for you. If this feels fairly steady, you start to tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, and then you're coming forwards onto the pinky toe and back onto the ball of the foot. And what you're doing is you're rolling here, is keeping those hips super square. Making sure that that front knee is in line with second and third toe, and that it's not wanting to roll in towards the midline. Okay, option number three, for those of you who are feeling super level, is going to be to start to draw the foot in to a balance. Step it back and lift up. Exhale. Balance. Step. And back. So we're just looking for that lunge and slow balance and control with the foot, placing it down and lifting the heart up. Increase your range of movement as your back feels more steady. and your legs feel more steady. And you can do the range of all 3 variations if you'd like with me. And then if you are doing all of them, we're going to bring the hands down for a moment, drop the back knee, step yourself back onto all 4s. You can take a moment in child's pose to rest. But because I'm not very good at nice long rests, when I'm doing exciting things like this, we'll step that right foot forwards, finding that lunge position. And again, level 1 is the knee staying down and practicing the balance of shifting yourself all the way back into that hamstring stretch. So you're getting that extra hamstring stretch. So if you're feeling particularly tight and the balance is feeling a little off, this is a great variation to do. And back. You want to keep the hips as square as you can. So one of the lovely things about this version is that ability to work on keeping the hips super square as you're going forwards and back. So you're getting that control of the pelvis, which is what stops the low back from twisting and torquing and getting into pain. Option number 2, lifting up that back knee and just taking that rolling through the foot. Now this option's great, especially if you've got issues around the fascia and the foot and the ankle strength, to start to really work and build the ankles. This is my dodgy side. So I'm going to tire much quicker here. Rolling through. Try and keep the back knee nice and straight so you're really getting that opening through the front hip flexor. And then we're going to go into the balance variation. So you'll step in slightly so that you can come in and up, balance, and step it back. In and back. I need more space. Stepping it forwards. Try and hold that balance as long as you can. And as you're doing this, making sure again that front knee is going over 2nd and 3rd toe. It's not wanting to drop into the big toe. And that means drawing that right hip backwards at all times to keep the pelvis super nice and square. We'll finish up with one more, and this time when we finish, instead of going to the floor, you step the foot in and stand yourself back up. To finish, we've got one nice big opening movement with the legs, and again, this is all that strength. You're going to start with your left toes turned out to the side or the short edge of your mat, and your right toes turned inwards. Have your legs nice and open. Really pull up in that right kneecap. Hips want to be as level as possible. And we're again trying to push that left knee so we can see the big toe. We often begin in a warrior 2, but we're not going to stay here. We're going to take that right arm and like you're drawing figures of 8. And you can do it with the left too. Try and move your torso and your arms around your body. Now this is balance all by itself. How big and how dancer-like you want to make yourself is your choice, but you've got to keep those legs nice and solid. You can go down to the floor and make it really deep. Really get that stretch if that feels okay for your back. And then finding your way up. And if you can, we finish by finding ourselves holding out to the side for a moment, finding that strength, that challenge to the side body, but also to the legs. And then press yourself back up. Come through center, change the feet around. So right toes are now pointing towards that short end of the mat. Left toes in to 45 degrees. Level out the hips. Have them as wide as feels comfortable for you. Take the arms out and then begin that dance again. And this side might feel different. Double check that the right knee is going over the 2nd and 3rd toe. And as you draw these figures of 8, You may notice over time that it becomes easier and more fluid. You can get slower or faster. You can add in more back bends. Just really trying to open it up. Fluid fascia is what we're looking for, because that's going to free the back. And then when your hand coming around to that side, arms out to the side, bend through that right knee, over that second and third toe. Smile, feel the muscles. And then inhale, dig through that heel and bring the legs together. Take a nice big inhale, reaching the arms up. And then soften the chin, roll down through the spine. Scoop the belly up and over, like you're jumping over an imaginary fence with your torso. Hang over the legs, soften them if you need. If you can, take one hand underneath the foot, the other hand underneath the foot, and gently press your weight into the palms of your hands. Try and see if you can deepen that stretch forwards, opening the back of those hamstrings. Shifting that weight into the balls of the feet as much as you can. And then release your hands. Bend your knees. And roll up through the spine. Well done, guys. Great work. Lovely to have you as always. Let me know your questions, your comments and your feedback, and may you have happy and smiling backs.